Hello children, welcome to the Biology Digital Classes. Today we are going to deal about the chapter Challenges in Improving Agriculture Products. So let's begin the session. Children, we all know to survive we need food. Food consists of different types of diet. Food consists of different types of diet, that is rice, dal, spinach, milk, fruits, vegetables. So these comes under vegetables. What about non-vegetarian food? Yes, meat, eggs. Right children? So generally a nuclear family consists of 4 members. Right children? So a simple survey was conducted. A family consisting of 4 members requires 50 kgs of grain per month or 600 kgs per year. So the area of land required for the same is around 1.4 square kilometers. Can you estimate how much area of land would be required to grow the quantity of grain needed for your family in a year, children? Now, children, this is the table. In the above table, you can see population growth, food production and the ratio. Children, in the 1961 to 1971 year, the population growth was 2.4% and the food production was 2.83. It was more. In the middle, 1981 to 1991, it was 2.16 and the food production was 3.13. It was higher. But in the case of 2001 to 2011, the population growth was 1.65 and the food production was 1.03. So the food production was not able to meet the population growth. So this developed the crisis. Children, you can see the following table: method, production, gain. Method: time of planting, a month after the onset of rains. Next, immediately after the onset of rains. So, a month after the onset of rains, the production was 3,400. Immediately after the onset of rains was 5,830. So, the production was more when they cultivated the land immediately after the onset of rains. Right children? Next, density of planting. Plants per hectare 39,600. The production was 4,100. Plants per hectare 19,800 and the production was 5,130. Here the density of plantation also matters. Now weeding. Weeds, the unwanted plants which grow in the crop field, are called as weeds. So if the weeding is done once, the production was 4,040. If it is done twice, the production was 5,200. Nutrient application. Children, as we all need nutrients, that is vitamins, minerals, proteins, the same way the plant also need the nutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These are the main ingredients or the nutrients. Now without phosphorus, 56 kgs of phosphorus. Without nitrogen, 78 kgs of nitrogen. You can clearly see, children, the difference between the nutrient application and when the nutrient was not applied. So how to increase the food production? Increase the area of cultivated land, increasing production in the existing land, developing high yielding varieties, crop rotation, cultivating mixed crops, cultivating short term crops like rabi. Now children, to get high yield, 3 types of methods are being used. First, developing high yielding varieties using high yield management methods, that is crop production management. Third, crop protection management is also very important, children. High yielding crop management methods are these: irrigation, plant nutrients, soil nutrients, crop rotation, cultivating mixed crops, organic manure, green manure crops, soil testing, vermicompost, panchagavya and organic farming. So let's get into detail for each and every method. So the first is irrigation, children, that is the proper water supply. So children, on the x-axis we can see the nitrogen supply, and on the y-axis the production ton per hectare. So the blue color indicates sufficient water supply and the red color indicate less water supply. You can clearly see, children, if the sufficient water supply and the nitrogen nutrients were applied, the production was more. What does a plant do with the water? Children, we all know the plant perform photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means food, preparation of food in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. Here children, you can clearly see 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 12 molecules of water in the presence of light and the pigment chlorophyll. They synthesize the carbohydrate sugar. To this we need 260 grams of carbon dioxide, 100 grams of water to produce 180 grams of sugar. Then water, then oxygen is again diffused out, children, through stomata. Now, children, this is a simple experiment which tells that plants also evaporate water. So, a glass bowl was kept on the top of the plant. So, the water droplets were observed on the glass. Right, children? This means that water is evaporated. Children, but suppose if the plant takes 1 liter of water to perform photosynthesis, only 0.1% is used by the plant, rest 99.9% is evaporated. The relationship between the water and the crop yields. Children, on the x-axis we can see the months, on the y-axis the water evaporation. Children, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Now children, we can clearly see in the month of May and June, the water evaporation was more because of the summer seasons. Right, children? It gradually decreased in the July, then in the August, then increased in the October because of the winters, then gradually decreased in the December. So, the water evaporation clearly depends on the climate. So, stomata in leaf. Children, as we all know, the stomata is the nose of the plant. It helps in the exchange of gases. Right, children? It will take up the carbon dioxide and give out the oxygen. But we take up the oxygen and give out the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide which we give is utilized by the plants and used in the process of photosynthesis. Children, you can see the stomata is open. So, that means the carbon dioxide can let in. The stomata is closed. Children, when do the stomata closes? When there is high temperature. So, when there is high temperature, the stomata closes because there is evaporation of water taking place. So, if the amount of evaporation becomes more, the plant may die. So, to avoid the unfavorable conditions, the plant closes the stomatal opening. Children, usually these are the farmers which are looking at the field. They generally grow the commercial feeds, that is paddy and the sugarcane. For that they need lot of irrigation, fertilizers and the pesticides. So this is cost making process, right children? It will take lot of cost. So we can advise the farmers to grow the Arutadi Pantalu, that is sunflower, sorghum, chicken pea, till and the black gram. So drip irrigation is the best method, children, to avoid the wastage of water. Right? You can see to the pipe there were tiny holes and there is equal distribution of water to each and every plant. So the plant nutrients, macro and the micro. Macro means large, they need in large quantities. Micro means small, they need in small quantities. Macronutrients, plant need nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium salts. Micronutrients, iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, nickel. These are the micronutrients, children. Now children, absorption of salts by different crops. Children, each crop absorbs different types of nutrients differently. You can see here rice, wheat, millet, corn, sugarcane and the groundnut. Yield per hectare, how much does the nitrogen consume, how much does the phosphorus consume and how much does the potassium is consumed by the particular plant. You can see children here particularly rice consumes more amount of, rice needs more amount of potassium to grow. Wheat children, yes, the same potassium. The millets, they need potassium. Corn need again the potassium. So potassium is very essential macronutrient for the plant production. Soil nutrients. Nutrients present in the soil are consumed by the plants, are replenished or returned to the soil in many different ways, which we will be dealing in this session, children. Rotating crops, adding organic manure or chemical fertilizers are the man-made processes. So crop rotation, children, you can see here this is the wheat, this is the maize, rice and the oats. Right children, these crops can be rotated by, this is green bean, green pea, chicken pea, this is sorghum, these are the lentils, this is the groundnut. Children, these are leguminous plants. What does the leguminous plants do, children? So the nitrogen is most abundant in the atmosphere. So this leguminous will absorb the nitrogen from the atmosphere and fix in the soil. Now what does the soil contains, children? The soil contains nitrogen rich nutrients. So when you grow these leguminous plants and after that when you grow again the paddy, maize or oats, children, so the nutrients which are available, readily available by the soil are grabbed by the paddy plants. So what are the uses? Nitrogen, new leaves, flower arises fast. Phosphorus helps roots to penetrate deep into the soil to absorb nutrients quickly, potassium, resistant towards pests, increase the quality of smell, color and taste of the fruits. Now children, crop rotation. Crop rotation is the process in which one crop is followed by another crop on an agriculture field. As I told you children, after cultivation of paddy, pulses or groundnut has to be grown, followed by the paddy, again cycle to continue. So this is the rhizobium bacteria children. This is helping for the symbiosis. Now this can be altered with the paddy. Then again the leguminous plant by this. So by altering the plants, that is crop rotation, we can replenish the nutrients to the soil. So children, it would help the ecosystem also. When a banyan tree is there, there will be insect. To eat the insect, a woodpecker would come and eat. So in this way, we are developing the ecosystem also. Then after cultivation of tobacco, mirchi has to be grown for the cycles to go on. After cultivation of red gram, maize, paddy has to be grown for the cycle to go on. So this is about crop rotation children. So cultivation of mixed crops. So more than one crop can be grown along with the site of our crop. So if more than one crop is cultivated in the same field, then it is called as mixed crop. So the soil becomes fertile. The nutrients which are used by one crop will be regained by cultivating another crop. So red gram in haldi, cabbage in groundnut. So these are the few examples children. Soya grown along with pea, pea grown along with the green gram, corn grown along with the black gram, groundnut grown along with the sunflower, groundnut grown along with the red gram, sorghum grown along with the pea. So these are the trees children. So this is lemon tree, can be grown with the black gram, pomegranate with the lentils, papaya with the black gram. So these are the mixed crops children. This is the nitrogen fixation bacteria children, blue green algae. This is mixed in the rice field so that it will fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere to the soil. So organic manure. Have you ever seen children in the barren field, the animals are just wandered? Why? Because when the excreta falls on the ground, that will add the nutrient to the soil. So you can see children, a cow, the cow dung and the goat with the goat excreta. So this will provide nutrients to the soil. So this is the vegetable waste and this is the animal decay, dead and decomposed decay children. So the above things give a good nutrient to the soil. It makes the soil fertile. Because of the humus, the natural manure, water holding capacity of soil increases. Water holding capacity is the main thing which a soil must have children. It must hold the water to give out the plant growth. So natural organic manures, there are two types children, concentrated organic manure, macro organic manure. Now the concentrated organic manure includes the seeds of, so this is jatropha seed children, the gingerly seeds, the groundnut, the coconut seeds and the neem tree seed. This is cactus seed. Macro organic manure children, the animal excreta and the vegetable waste and the vermicompost comes under macro organic manure. Now children, percentage of nutrients elements in organic manure, goat manure, dry compost, dry organic manure, neem powder and the vermicompost. So the dry organic manure has more amount of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. What is dry organic manure? So this is the dry organic manure children. Dung, hay and the cow urine are considered in this. So name of the crop, nitrogen. Lobia beans 7.1, Dancia 6.2, Kulti 3.3, green gram 7.2, sunham 7.5, horse gram 8.5. Now children, before plowing the soil has to be tested to see the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. Salinity of the soil also has to be tested. So we have soil testing centers, that is Bhu Pariksha Kendralu in our mandals and agriculture officers employed for this. So you can take the sample to the lab. So here children, they are testing the salinity of the soil. This is the soil testing center children. So this is about the soil. Children, to add the manure to the soil, the best way is, in the ancient days, they used to produce the vermicompost. For that we need a shed. Avoid the sunlight and the rain. Now we need vermicompost beds 10 into 1 into half meters in dimensions. Children, for that we need the coconut leaves, the banyan leaves, sugarcane leaves, dry coir. They made them into 3 to 4 inches layer. This inner layer was wet with water. They collected household waste of dry cattle dung from the village to fill the beds. They did not use wet dung, children, only the dry dung has to be used. So there is no usage of plastic, glass, metal and rubber, children. These has to be avoided. Now after 2 weeks of making bed, they kept thousands of earthworms per square meter and covered the bed with gunny bags to maintain 30 to 40% of moisture. Children, you can see the earthworms and the gunny bags to maintain the temperature, moisture, children. Then after 60 days, they collected their first manure. Second time, they got the manure within 40 to 45 days. Every year, they got the manure 6 times from these beds. So, they got 1 ton of compost from 3 tons of organic waste. Now, Panchagavya, children. Pancha means 5. So, the ingredients are the cow ghee, the cow urine, cow milk, cow curd and the cow dung. Now, the coconut water, sugarcane juice, kallu, that is toddy water and the banana paste. Now, mix cow dung and the cow ghee, settle it for 4 days. On the 5th day, add urine, that is cow urine, cow milk and curd of cow. Also add kallu, that is toddy, coconut water and sugarcane juice to the mixture and then add banana paste. Now, settle it for 10 days. Stir the material morning and evening. Then you will get Panchagavya, the only sprayer type of manure. 3% of Panchagavya is helpful to grow crop with higher yield. It also used as food for hens and fish in ponds. Now, organic farming. Children, we have been hearing about this organic farming, that is without using chemical fertilizers, pesticides, insecticide. Using the organic manure, we have to grow crops. Why is the need? Because using chemical fertilizers, this may lead to different types of cancer for our future generations also. So, many of the NGOs are running the organic farming and promoting it. So, let's go to that organic farming. Long-term high yielding capacity of soil depends on the nutrients of the soil and suitable physical, chemical, biological characters of the soil, that is soil health. So, some microorganisms are useful to synthesize nutrients from the environment or from the soil to plants. These are called as a microbial cultures. Biofertilizers are 2 types, children. Nitrogen fixers, as we have seen, children, and the phosphorus moralizers and solubilizers. So, these are the biofertilizers, children, that is bacteria, algae and the fungi. Bacteria, nitrogen fixer, Rhizobium bacteria, Azobacter, Azospirillum. Phosphorus solubilizer, Bacillus and Pseudomonas. Algae, that is nitrogen fixer, blue-green algae. Fungi, phosphorus moralizers, phosphorus solubilizer, that is mycorrhizae and the penicillin. Children, we have seen the algae. This is the biofertilizer, maintains soil health and productivity. They synthesize nutrients from the environment and the soil. So, these are farmers eco-friendly fertilizers. So, these are the chemical fertilizers, children. Percentage of nutrients in different chemical fertilizers. Urea, 46%, phosphorus and potassium is absent. Superphosphate, nitrogen is absent, 8 to 9% of phosphorus is present. Ammonium sulfate, 21% of nitrogen is present. Potassium nitrate, 13% and the 44% of potassium is present. So, children, we need to use all these type of chemical fertilizers to the field, because each and every fertilizer is not able to give the whole nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So, as I told you, chemical fertilizers are very dangerous to the health. It is disturbing the ecosystem also, children. If we use chemical fertilizers, that is eaten by the insects, and the insects are being eaten by the birds, then by the snake, then by the eagle. So, the ecological niche is being disturbed. Right, children? The amount determines the effect. Children, you can see here on the x-axis the amount of nitrogen applied, then crop yield in production. So, children, in one indigenous rice variety, Peta was grown and the hybrid rice variety was grown. So, by using the chemical fertilizers, that is indigenous rice variety was grown and the hybrid rice variety was also grown. But the hybrid rice variety is giving the high yield in the chemical fertilizers. So, the crop protection. Children, the crop production is one side and the crop protection is also very important task. First is weeds, insects and plant diseases, natural pest controlling methods. So, weeds, as I told you, children, weeds are the unwanted plants which are growing in the crop. So what is the problem if the plants are growing in the field, children? Yes, it is a problem because it is affecting the soil nutrients, because it is grabbing the soil nutrients, it is grabbing the water from it, and it is grabbing the sunlight also. If the plant is growing higher and our plant is growing this much, so the shadow will fall on this plant and the sunlight may not protrude it, right children? So it will affect the supply of nutrients to the crop, affect the sunlight availability to the crop, effect on the water available for the crop. These factors affect the crop production. So insects and plant diseases. Children, you can see the leaf is shriveled, right? And here the rust of the wheat plant is being observed. Here discoloration. Children, you can see here the green color leaf and this is the yellow color leaf, right children? So discoloration has been taking place if the plant is affected by insect and plant diseases. Now children, you can see this is the blast of rice, red rot of sugarcane. These are the insects which are being eating the crop, right children? So to avoid these insects, what we will do? Yes, we will spray the insecticides and the pesticides. Frankly children, the insects and pesticides, by spraying this, the insects will die. But what effect would it be on the crop? Yes, we are eating the same crop and the chemicals are being taken by our food. So insects and birds help in the pollination. Children, if we use insecticides and pesticides, the insects are being ward off, that is they are dying. So if the insects die, there is no pollination. Birds also help in pollination, children. So use of natural food chains to control pests, that is predatory insects. As I told you, to maintain the food chain, the predatory insects help us to get rid of the insects which are getting away the crop. This is the one best method, children, Deepapu Teralu. So you can see here Deepapu Teralu were arranged in the field. So all the insects were accumulated at one place. So the predatory insects were being happily eating the insects. So natural pest controlling methods. Some insects control the harmful insects and they are called as friendly insects. Spiders, dragonfly, Chirosola, mirids, ladybird beetle, etc. are the insects that eat larvae of jacids, thrips and stem borers. Now some fungi like Trichoderma species and some bacteria like Bacillus thuringiensis are capable of destroying pests like stem borers in tobacco, etc. So Akarshaka Pantalu is the best way to get rid of these insects, children. What are the Akarshaka Pantalu? Let's see it. After paddy, cultivating black gram, groundnut, etc. prevents Tungro virus disease on paddy. After cotton, cultivating maize and gingerly prevent gram caterpillar. After red gram, cultivating maize and corn prevents spotted bollworm and rite disease. Now children, this is the best way to control our natural enemies by predatory insects. Now children, this is the mirchi plant, this is the marigold plant. So the mirchi plant is being grown along with the marigold plant. Why is that? Because the mirchi plant roots are infected by pests like aphids. So the marigolds secrete the chemical known as terphenyl that helps in the mirchi plants from getting destroyed. Now the jatropha is grown along with the cotton. Growing jatropha in cotton fields, most part of the jatropha plant are reported to be toxic, that is kernel, leaves, stems, flowers, buds, roots, bark and the wood to insects and humans too. Ancient days, organic method of farming was practiced, but due to commercialization, chemical fertilizers are being used for more yield. By using natural techniques and by avoiding food grown with chemicals which may be lethal to our future generations, to which may lead to cancer. Bacillus thuringiensis is a natural occurring soil-borne bacteria. It consists of a pore which gives its persistence and a protein crystal within the spore which is toxic. Children, the Bacillus thuringiensis was mixed with the crop field. So when the insect came and ate the leaf, so what happened is the throat was sporated. So the food content was being dried off. Eventually the death of the insect took place. But Bacillus thuringiensis was not being advised because it had many side effects, right? So growing disease resistant seeds can be grown. So what we have learnt? Drip irrigation, predatory insects, crop rotation, mixed crop, organic fertilizers, vermicompost, panchagavya. What we have learnt? Factors for the increase of food production are quality and variety of seeds planted, properties of the soil, availability and proper application of irrigation, and fertilizers, weather, controlling insect attacks, controlling the weeds. Crop rotation preserves the soil fertility. Seeds with the desired characters were developed by using the hybridization methods and genetic engineering. So, I like bitter gourd. Some people don't like bitter gourd because it is bitter. So, hybridization helps you to take away the undesired character and add the desirable characters. So, genetic engineering techniques, absorption of carbon dioxide and evaporation of water occurs through stomata. Mixed crop system helps the farmer to produce variety of crops as well as increase in soil fertility and crop production. Plant utilizes 0.1% of water which is it absorbs to form carbohydrates during the process of photosynthesis. Nutrients are replenished to the soil by rotating crops, adding organic manure or chemical fertilizers. Mixed crop cultivation makes soil fertile. The nutrients which are used by one crop will be regained by cultivating another crop. Humus and water holding capacity are increased in the soil by applying the natural manure. Any plant leaves can be used as green manure. Vermicompost is far better than the chemical fertilizers. Children, we all know that earthworm is the farmer friend, isn't it? Yes, because it will make the soil very fertile. So, the vermicompost and the panchagavya are the two techniques which are being widely used by the farmers for organic manure. Then, overusage of pesticide leads to soil pollution, water pollution, hazards to biodiversity. Plant need nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium salts in larger quantities. These are called as macronutrients. Plant need some nutrients like boron, iron, copper in smaller quantities. So, these are called as micronutrients. So, improve your learning. Suggest some ways through which our country could increase the production of rice to meet at least global limits. What are the essential measures that a farmer need to take before sowing the seeds of a crop? What measures will you take to save your field from seasonal outbursts of insects? What threat to nature do chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides and herbicides pose? Organic manure is helpful to biodiversity. How do you support this statement? What are the adverse effects of using high yielding varieties of seeds? How would you educate a farmer to use organic fertilizers instead of chemical fertilizers? Next, natural pest controlling methods are useful to biodiversity. Comment on it. For better understanding of the concept, solve the worksheet. Please visit the official website of SCERT. Children, I hope this session is useful to understand the challenges of improving the agriculture products. Thank you.